بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بداية نتقدم الاتحاد القطري للشطرنج بخالص الشكر والامتنان للمؤسسة العامة للحي الثقافي كتارا على دعمهم وتعاونهم معنا في تنظيم هذه البطولة، حيث تأتي بطولة كتارا لعام 2020 بطبع مختلف لأنها سوف تقام لأول مرة عن بعد. لقد قام الاتحاد القطري للشطرنج بتنظيم العديد من البطولات المحلية والدولية عن بعد خلال الفترة الماضية، إلا أن بطولة كتارا الدولية سوف تشهد مشاركة بطل العالم والمصنف الأول عالمياً ماغنوس كارلسن، مما سوف يضيف قيمة فنية وقيمة إعلامية للبطولة. ومن المتوقع أن يشارك حوالي 5000 لاعب ولاعبة من مختلف دول العالم في مراحل التأهيلية للبطولة. مرة أخرى نتقدم بالشكر إلى كتارا وللدكتور خالد السليطي ونثمن جهودهم عالياً في دعم الأنشطة الرياضية والثقافية المختلفة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. كتارا طبعا كمؤسسة ثقافية دائما تحرص على دعم الأنشطة الرياضية ونشر ثقافة الرياضة من خلال تنظيمها واحتضانها لكثير من الفعاليات الرياضية الهامة سواء على المستوى المحلي أو على المستوى الدولي، وهي تواصل في هذا النهج من خلال احتضانها لبطولة كتارا الدولية للشطرنج التي تتسم هذا العام بطابع خاص، حيث سيتم تنظيمها عن بعد لأول مرة تماشيا مع الإجراءات الاحترازية التي اتبعتها الدولة للوقاية من فيروس كورونا كوفيد-19. طبعا نحن سعداء بهذا التعاون المشترك والمثمر مع الاتحاد القطري للشطرنج في تنظيم هذه البطولة، ونعلن انطلاق هذه النسخة الجديدة متمنيا لكل المشاركين التوفيق والنجاح.
I am also muted. Everything went so flawlessly for the first two streams, of course. Of course, the third one had to start like that. Third time is not a charm for me, but welcome everyone. It is the third and final qualifier of the Katara International Chess Tournament 2020. A huge bullet arena held on Lead Chess. We are your commentators for the night. I'm Fiona Steil-Antoni.
And I'm Alex Lopez.
And we will be taking you through all the action tonight. We are looking right now at the third and final arena. Let's remind everyone, 5 players will qualify. We have some new names. Rebecca Harris, aka Daniel Naroditsky. He hasn't played in either of the first 2 tournaments, nor has Sergei Zhigalko. Penguin is signed up, but he was also signed up for the afternoon arena, didn't show up, so I'm not sure if he will tonight. We shall find out. Un vieux monsieur, just spotted him now, un vieux monsieur, I believe, Jules Moussard from France, another, young, scuffed. Are we having sound issues? Is the sound fine? Let us know. We've had a few mic issues in the last days, maybe it's unplugged, but hopefully it's fine. Let's look at the results of the first 2 arenas. So the first one from this morning, I will quickly show you guys so we were here this morning at 9, then we were here this afternoon at 3. From the first arena, it was won by Arm, who is Haik Martirosyan, Grandmaster from Armenia. Penguin came second in this arena. Dropstone came third, Grandmaster David Paravian, the winner of this year's Gibraltar tournament. And the final 2 qualifiers were Raunak Sadhwani from India and Rasmus Svane from Germany. So 5 GMs qualified. There were some, Jazugi and Jimakos came close, but it wasn't quite enough. Then this afternoon, in the second arena, it was dominated by Alireza, although Shant put up a great fight. Shant is Shant Sargsyan from Armenia, so Armenia already has 2 players through to the final. Muizbak came third, that is Grandmaster Rauf Mamedov from Azerbaijan. Fourth was Inventing Invention, Arjun Erika Gaizi from India. And in the 5th spot, our first non-GM qualifier, the legend. He is in the chat with us. Kleine Bear, aka Meneer Manje from the Netherlands, who played an absolutely astonishing tournament, just edging out some huge names like Anish Giri, John Ludwig Hammer, and some other players who might be trying their chance again tonight. We shall find out, but let's return to tonight's arena. They are about to kick off in just 2 minutes. Alex, what are your predictions for tonight?
Well, the easiest prediction is that everybody who is vying for a spot is hoping that Mr. Penguin will take it easy on this afternoon.
Is he online?
Sure
He's online.
he is online, but they'll be happy to see him absent from proceedings. The top two players have not participated in any of the previous events, and they are two huge names. In second place, Sergei Zygalko, very strong grandmaster and a bullet and blitz expert. And in the first place, a household name, Daniel Naroditsky, incredibly strong, one of the best grandmasters in the US, a streamer himself, and a very, very popular one, and a very, very entertaining character on and off the chessboard. So he is our top seed going into the event. And I definitely think that he's going to be, I really do think he's going to make it into the top 5. But it's anybody's game at the end of the day, because huge names, as you mentioned, all in the top 10. It's just such a stacked lineup. Some names worth mentioning. Parham Maghsoodloo is back, trying hopefully third time's a charm for him, from Iran, current Iranian number 1. Vietnamese number 1, Le Quan Liem, and the blitz specialist from the Ukraine, I believe, Alexander Bortnik, are there catching my eye. This is going to be one heck of a tournament.
It's going to be a wild one. Already 2,700 players signed up, and let's remind everyone, on Lichess, everyone can sign up throughout the arena. We see Meneer Manje is going to try and qualify again. Best of luck to you and to everyone who is playing. There's 10 seconds to go, 5 spots to go to qualify for the final on Wednesday, where Magnus Carlsen awaits, and we will kick off the stream with the TV on Rebecca Harris, and we are starting as is usual on Lichess with the number 1 facing off against number 2.
Yeah, and immediately Rebecca Naroditsky, he starts off Rebecca Harris with a sacrificial opening. He's down a pawn, but he's got a nice center here with black. He's posted his bishop on this diagonal. It's a heavyweight battle right off the mark. Bishop c7 here seems to be offering this pawn on c5. Not taken. Now that option is gone. And Zygalko, really aggressive move, posting the queen very, very actively here. Kicked back immediately. But white has to be happy with how things have gone so far. It's true black has the bishop pair and some compensation. This is offering a second pawn, rejected, and now there is a big threat here. Bishop c8 with the queen and the rook lined up. White steps out of that, evicting the rook, and rook a6. Really nice play across the board here. We're seeing very high level initial game to be covering, and black has made some ground. He picked up some pawns, some weak pawns on the queen side. That double attack on the bishop and pawn, getting him another pawn, and he's in front now. He's in command here. Bishop b8 just defending the pawn. Rook c8 attacking, and in the end, black is up a pawn here with the better minor piece. Bishops are usually a little bit stronger than knights in these kind of positions, and well, we're gonna just see, can Rebecca Harris get off to a great start. He goes for the exchange here and gives some checks.
We had the same exact situation actually in an earlier arena with the 1 pawn advantage, which usually shouldn't be enough, but in bullet it's so tough to defend, especially when you are the side that's down on the clock.
Yeah, Zygalko is doing a great job, but Rebecca Harris has twice his time here, so we'll see what happens. Objectively, I think it should be a draw, but Rebecca is just going to try and create as many problems as possible here. A Grandmaster Naroditsky from the US. Rook f3. That's going to kick the king away, and rook f4. We're going to see king g6 and rook f4 trying to corral this pawn. We're seeing a different strategy here, and rook e7. The rook had been pre-moved to a7, and Rebecca converting off to a great start.
And now we see the Berserk. Alex, I know it's our third time here, but I will let you explain. In case we have any newcomers, what is Berserk? Why does Rebecca Harris start with only 30 seconds on the clock?
So it's a lead chess exclusive possibility. You can actually cut your time by half, and in exchange, of course, the risk is much greater, but the reward is you can get an extra point in the tournament. And every point counts. Certainly a good strategy when there is a big rating gap here with Rebecca playing an opponent whose rating is about half of his own. So
which is incredible. Who has qualified so far? We have just covered that. Maybe someone in the chat can kindly once again put the names. But 10 qualifiers, 5 spots to go, 90 minutes. 90 minutes from now we will know who has qualified.
And Naroditsky, Rebecca in control here. He's got a 2-pawn advantage, much like in the previous game. Now Black can't take this one, but he just switches to an endgame. He's not even interested in picking up this pawn. King and pawn endgames, up a pawn. Usually there's nothing to be done. They're almost always winning. That's not the case for rook and pawn endgames, and we see here White just advancing his pawn, and it's going to be light work, I think, for Rebecca with 11 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, he's gonna do the stairs. The simplest way to checkmate all pre-moves, gets there with 10 seconds to spare. Okay, Karina chess, we see some woman power, good stuff. I believe this is Karina Ambortsamova from Russia, could be wrong. But let's see some women power.
Yeah, but she's off to a bad start. Black picked up a piece very, very early on. Now striking against this rook, bringing in the remaining pieces onto the board, keeping more pieces on the board, trying to go for those complications and going for an attack. We see the queen and the bishop coordinating here very nicely, and we might see a very interesting sacrifice. So he's taking a different approach. He just says, I've got an extra piece, I'm going to swap off as many pieces as you want, and I'm going to win this endgame against you.
Yeah, and he has already almost caught up with him on time, so it's going to be a difficult ask here. And Rebecca Harris off to a great start. By the way, I realized Penguin, I read in the chat that Penguin is playing again, which does not make that big a difference though, because the way it works is there are 5 qualifiers from each tournament. So let's say Penguin were to qualify again, he came second in this morning's arena, so he would have to finish first in this one for it to make a difference. So unless Penguin comes first or second, I mean, maybe if he comes third, fourth or fifth, the 6th from this arena, but it will not impact the previous arenas, is what I mean. Okay, meanwhile, Rebecca is still working away, but...
We're seeing some knight b4 opportunities here. He's bridged the gap on the clock, but this pawn is quite annoying, quite a difficult pawn to stop. Now it's gone though, and that's fork central here, and it's game over, and now even a time at edge. We might, I don't know, would you like to move to...
Yeah, let's go back to the arena. Let's see who are the early... It's good to see Jazuki back. I don't know if I guess he skipped the second arena. Let's look at some games from our second seed, Sergei Zhigalko from Belarus.
So he's up against, I'm guessing, Grandmaster Vugar Rasulov, I suspect
from Azerbaijan.
From Azerbaijan. And he's all out there on an attack, queen and the rook, trying to break things down, pushing pawns. But the question is, can Black hold on here on the dark squares? He does have the bishop. We're probably going to see some knight f3 to try to add to the pressure here. But in the meantime, or maybe even a sacrifice here was a very interesting idea. Instead, he's going in a little bit of a different direction. He's moving the queen away. You cannot take it. He wants rook takes g5, but queen d1 strikes me as a really, really strong move here. Picking up this pawn and importantly defending against the threat of sacrifice. You might see something like knight f3 here, just trying to create pressure, but the queen on h5 is doing a wonderful job here to stop both threats. Rook c3, you cannot take this because the bishop could then take the queen. The king would no longer have been forked. But this pawn is a different direction to take things in. Rook b8, trying to push that pawn. Rook takes rook a2 intermezzo,
and the pawn
really
is
quickly
gone.
spotted.
Yeah, very nicely spotted by Black.
Black has survived what looked like a losing position, and he's, quite frankly, he's outplayed Zhigalko, but now the race is on with 7 seconds against 5.
Yeah, Black's suddenly in a winning position, but the clock there drops the rook. Even though the rook dropping doesn't matter so much, it really all comes down to the speed now.
Oof. The dropping of the rook, though, is the last thing that you wanted. Zygalko manages to get the draw flagging.
A fighting draw.
Not what he wanted there. Early days still, though, of course.
Absolutely. We'll see one more game, and we see him berserk as well against his opponent. Opper currently in first place. That is Opperwesen, a bullet legend from Lichess. We will also at some point for sure look at some of his games.
Yeah, and Zygalko, I like his position, but I really like this move g5. You don't want to move that knight because white's knight would have jumped to d5, but white has adapted to this now. Rook g7 looks very, very strong, taking over the 7th rank. Black castles queenside, protecting everything, and black wants this pawn. And you have to say, black has played a very good game, probably e5, king e6, wanting d5. He's preparing that d5, grabbing the center. He's going to improve his king. He's probably going to push. He's going to go king g5. And yes, take the h-pawn as you're saying now. White adapting to that, trying to sort of toy, saying, you go after my weakness, I'll go after yours. King b4 trying to improve here. Black shuts that down, but again...
White is very annoying.
Yeah, perhaps e4 is a clever little try. Pawn takes, can then be met by rook c4 check, and then picking up this pawn. He goes a different direction. He goes after these pawns. In endgames, activity of the rook is very, very important here. And the game is close to a draw, but huge blunder. Rook check. Once the rooks come off the board, this pawn is going to decide.
Incredible.
So Zygalko off to a little bit of a tough start.
Yeah, and a big game. And he berserks Fandorin. I think that is definite tilt. I think
yes.
this earlier I didn't want to call it, but Fandorin is a Grandmaster Maxim Chigayev. He was near the top of the first 2 arenas, I believe.
Yeah, and he previously didn't take too kindly to being berserked on previous occasions. He actually had a strategy when he got berserked by, I can't remember if it was Ali Reza or Hans Niemann or Penguin, someone. He just shuffled his pieces.
Yeah.
So let's see, does he do that here? And just says, well, you gave me an extra 30 seconds on the clock.
Let's see. Well, Sergei Zygalko has been playing very quickly.
But we're seeing Chigayev's strategy. He's keeping the position pretty locked down, and we'll see what happens. He's taking it easy,
but
very patient. Wouldn't even surprise me if he played a slow move like king b2, just improving, queen d1, shuffling, rook here. Black, of course, wanting to break in, but there isn't too much to break into.
Yeah, and the knight is a monster on e5.
Yeah, huge piece here, and black king c7, a sign that things are going wrong, and white just patiently improving his position. But the clock situation...
it's getting closer.
Yeah, it's... Oh, bishop f3, a huge move. And Fandorin resigns.
Wow. That's a big win. Let's see one more Zygalko game. See if he continues berserking. We see him continue. I think we'll go away from there. We're 10 minutes into the arena, and Opperwesen, how is he? He has won all his games, so let's look at the current tournament leader, see if he can keep his streak up. Opperwesen is doing Opperwesen things. He is not actually trolling his opponents. I've seen him play this many times before. But yeah, an interesting moment to tune in.
Yeah, I mean, these strategies, these days we're seeing it a lot over the board, just pushing the H-pawn. You see Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, all these top guys, they're playing like this. And Opperwesen, he's been playing like this for many years. And with a lot of success here in this position. I like his position. White might have the bishop pair, usually it's an advantage. But this bishop isn't really doing too much for now, at least, with this very nice central control here for black. Black's opening up the h-file. The question is, how can you actually bring in an attack to play? Maybe you want to put your king here, bishop on d6, and gradually attack. But white's got his own intentions here on the queen side. Black ends up giving a pawn. But he has some ideas. Has this knight been missed? And Opperwesen does capture it. On top of that, he's got
a big threat.
A very big threat here, queen d1 check. And I think that I'm not sure. On Wobi wants queen b4 here, but we might see queen d... No, we do not. We see more practical play here. Black is up a piece, and he's probably looking to swap off more pieces. That's what he does here. But white does have a few pawns, so it's far from an easy conversion. Black is going after the f2 point. He goes knight d5. I'm not sure that I like this from white, giving up his bishop and improving the pawns for black. And black might go for some mating nets here. We might see at some point knight d2, knight f3 ideas. They tend to create mating nets. White is playing too actively to allow that. 7 seconds against 4.
Very close, but we saw Upper this morning so fast. And I think he's gonna get there. But White put up a great fight. Great fight by White. We'll stick with him for another... He's won all his games. So I think we'll stick with him at least for another couple of games. Yeah, he's very, very fast. There was a comment in the chat. Upper might be the fastest bullet player, the fastest IM bullet player. I think there's I agree with that. He might be, or did they say the best? The best bullet IM player. Could very well be. There's a couple of others, Mutt Pro or Man United Pro springs to mind in this arena. But I would agree, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of strong candidates, some young fresh blood as well on the scene.
Mr. Menier, like we
Menier. I was going to suggest also Hans Niemann is very, very strong as well. He seems to be missing from the action now. He might join soon. Bishop takes c7, a little tactical combination there you couldn't take because the queen would have been hanging. And White.
He's racking up those wins.
And he's up against Grandmaster, I believe, Wojciech Platt.
Wojtek Platt, yes, from the Czech Republic. We'll see how long, but it's very nice to be able, also, you see the standings actually there at the top, and we've also talked about that earlier today, but the players who have the fire icon next to their games means that they have won 2 or more games in a row, and when you are on a so-called streak, you get more points. And Upper, well, he's won all his games, so that's quite a big streak.
Yeah, and he's really going to try to build as much momentum as possible, try and carve out as big of an edge here early on. He's got a tricky position here to deal with. White has the bishop pair, a lot of activity, these rooks. This rook and bishop bearing down here, the bishop and the queen bearing down in the center. The other rook joins the party, black goes d5, shutting down these pieces. But you have to be a little bit careful, and there might be some tactic here, and that tactic is spotted here. You couldn't capture that bishop because the rook was hanging, and you have to say White is in control here. This black bishop also cannot be happy pointing at its own pawn. Black needs a bunch of moves in order to improve his position. Maybe some g6 here, some
Black
king
would
g7.
be very happy to swap the rooks, but he's dropped another pawn. It's not looking good.
But he can go for some counterplay long-term, rook d2, bishop g3 ideas. For now, he's playing it safe. He doesn't want to lose this pawn because then that's 2 connected passed pawns. But I think at some point he's going to go for that counterplay, rook d2 and bishop to g3. Goes instead, very practical approach. This is very risky because, you know, you don't really have any winning chances unless White plays something like f3 and allows you to mate him.
But that was missed, I believe.
Yeah, and that is that.
And that is the first loss for Opperwiesen. I'm sure he'll fight back, but we will come back to his games later on. I hear that also John Ludwig Hammer is back for more. Who do we go to? Green Knight. Have I forgotten who Green Knight was? From it was a player also from the Czech. Atena Palada, also Badur Jobava. He was fighting at the top. Should we see some Jobava? When in doubt, look at some Jobava games. And he's playing Uzbek Tiger. If someone could let us know from the USA, let us know who that is. I'm not sure. So Daniel Naroditsky, aka Rebecca Harris, the top seed tonight, has apparently had a slow start. Currently only in 84th position. But we're only 15 minutes in. It is quite a short arena at 90 minutes long, but absolutely still time to recover for Daniel.
Yeah, and Naroditsky is always very consistent in these events, so I would be surprised if we don't see him at least top 10 by the end of the event. The question, of course, will he break into the top 5? Going to Jobava's game here, his position is looking very, very good. He's got full control of this f-file. He's looking to take black's best piece. Importantly, that knight was covering some light squares. So I think we're going to see an invasion by the queen. It goes directly here by f3 and queen f5. And this bishop is not what you want because you've got all your pawns on dark squares like this. And the queen is very powerful. At least you've gotten rid of that bishop and you've taken this knight, which was threatening to come in. And black's done a great job. But it's come at a price. This pawn on b7.
But are you going to mate the white king?
I think we're going to go queen somewhere to d7 or e7. We're going to start taking this pawn. But if we take it king h5, and you're actually right, you might get checkmated. So, but queen takes g5, allowing this with check means that white is able to solve that mating threat that you were talking about. And now we're seeing a bunch of checks. This pawn will fall, and with it, the game.
Too many pawns.
Too many pawns, and not only can they queen, but they can also create mating nets here. The game is over immediately. The rook drops.
Absolutely. So, let's watch this one actually. Badur Jobava with the black pieces against, I still don't know, you called him Mod Pro. I'm still tempted to call him Man United Pro. If there's a consensus in the chat, let us know. Is it Mod Pro or Man United Pro? Either way, another player who can claim, the spot of one of the best IM bullet players in the world.
Yeah, for sure. Incredibly consistent as well, always towards the top here. And Jobava with the black pieces, he's going for a very risky strategy. He's grabbing a lot of space, putting those pawns on the light squares, but it's all a little bit shaky. And Mutti Pro, or Man United Pro, he's hoovered up a lot of material, and that knight just fell here. Black's last move, rook b8, ignoring the threat, and, well, it's over. Huge game now.
Yeah.
Up against Jobava against Operwezen.
And we see Operwezen playing Albin Countergambit. Not such a regular guest at the top level, but the queen's off. I'm a little less excited already.
But Jobava is finding ways to make it interesting. He goes for that queenside castle, and now he's going to want to put the knight here on e5. But somehow against Jobava, people seem to know he loves that dynamic play, and people always are getting the queens off the board when they can against him.
Yeah.
And I like Black's position overall. Material is level, but this pawn structure, double pawns, isolated pawns, it's not ideal. I like this plan though, knight c5, hitting this pawn. However, at the end of the day, this black knight here is the best of the minor pieces. White is routing this knight over to this square that he controls though. Great move actually. A lot of players might have been tempted to go knight d4, but you see the class of Jobava. Yeah. He's going here, he spots where the weak squares are, and you can see now he's really creating some serious threats. Rook d7, anticipating this, but losing in exchange to knight e5. And it has to be said, Operwezen has been outclassed so far in this game.
Yeah, this game has been a very one-sided post the opening stages. So let's go back. By the way, I just want to say that I see you all in the chat. This one, there's so much action going on that I'm not interacting so much, but I see all the comments, and it's great to have so many people watching us both on Twitch and on YouTube, and welcome to all of you. I hope you enjoy the show. And okay, Baba Ramdev, Akshay Chandra has stormed to the top, and he's playing Badur Jobava.
Fate brings us back to Mr. Jobava. And I really like what Baba Ramdev is doing, but maybe losing this pawn is a little bit risky. Those dark squares, we see bishop b4 coming in. We're probably going to have to go queen d2 or queen c2, some kind of a move like this. The bad news for Jobava is once again, they're offering those, they're forcing that queen trade.
The same strategy against poor Badur.
Must be frustrating, The guy is like, people know too much about his preferred style, and he's just too strong, so people tend to try to avoid that. We might see some maneuvering here of the knight to go towards those squares, and now an invasion of the rook, the king defending the pawns, but this is the problem. Rook c3, really nice maneuvering from Jobava, and we could even see knight takes f4, king takes, rook takes, but I think Jobava wants even more than that. He wants to keep his knight, wants to keep the pressure. King d7, preventing any kind of invasion onto either of these squares. Rook f1 might be anticipating this possible knight takes f4, but I'm not quite sure why this pawn isn't being captured.
But now we just take it.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Really, really nice. And the knight on f5 just couldn't be better. White, of course, scrambles to get it off the board. Rook f6, creating some counterplay, but this f pawn looks to me very, very scary. F3 check, advancing, rook d2, and we're probably going to see king e3, creating a mating net. Goes a different direction. He goes like this, rook e2, in order to control rook f4. Rook f4 was in there, forcing promotion, but...
Nice spot.
Yeah, but nevertheless here, Jobava in complete control here. He's got two extra pawns, and he's going to go for rook c4, rook b4, and we see promotion on the next move. The question is, can the very, very fast Baba Ramdev create problems for him? He cannot.
No. Baba is bringing his I was reading Baba, his A game tonight. Dolly Master, who is that? from Serbia. I do not know who that is. Let us know again in the chat if you know. Let's watch one more game since we have a new leader. And let's stick with this one.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dalma? I don't know how you would pronounce it. Dulemaster.
Dual master, I guess.
The truth thinks it is Grandmaster Popovic. We shall wait and find out. See how he's doing.
He's doing well. Seems to be doing very well in this position. He's got control of that c-file. He'd landed a knight on a very, very good square. Now we see rook c7. Black's a little bit tangled up here. We might see some bishop c5 move coming in, but he really wants to, get that bishop onto c6, and that's what he goes for. Black wants to stave off the pressure here. Maybe a little tactic missed. Rook takes d7 looked very strong. Rook takes, but he goes queen c3 instead, and now he finds this rook takes c7. But after queen takes, yes, correct. Rook takes d7. You cannot take the queen. Sorry, I thought I missed.
In that
this
case,
a huge game now though. Let's stick just one more game maybe, or
yeah, okay, let's stick there. I was gonna go to the new leader. We have gotten, but we'll go there afterwards. We've gotten some insight. So Dulemaster comes from Dule being the diminutive for Dusan in Serbian language, and so there's Dusan Popovic, who is the new leader. We'll go there next.
In this game here, Grizzly Bear is with the white pieces Parham Magsudlu. And white's playing c4. Makes a lot of sense here, just trying to break open the center while black's king is in the middle of the board. c5 might... no, I thought maybe it was a mouse slip and he intended this, but I think his intention is he wants to beef up control of that b6 square. We might see some f5 ideas as well, just trying to break things open, and I think white is really in great shape here. The question is, how is black going to solve his problems with the king side? You cannot castle here. Your queen side is ripped apart, and in the meantime, there are barely any kingside pawns left. Knight jumps onto d6, and now this is a big problem.
That black king looks so awkward on a8.
And the knight on b8 has no squares so far. Parham is putting on a masterclass here in this particular game, and
we have Ralph. Actually, let me quickly. I have to take 1 second to gift a VIP status. Mr. Muisbach is in the chat with us. He's asking, how's MVL doing? I was sure that Un Vieux Monsieur was Moussard. Oh, is MVL also?
Certain.
Yeah, I think MVL's username is Avalon something.
Yeah.
Unless Avalon is also playing. Let us know. But Un Vieux Monsieur, is Avalon Game Master in the tournament? If so, I would love to see. I had promised though a couple of games from the new tournament leader, Dulemaster. And Avalon Game Master is in the tournament, apparently. Exciting news.
Wow.
Very exciting news.
A huge addition.
Mr. Muisbach, Ralph, great to have you with us, and we will for sure check out Maxime's games. And congratulations, Ralph, on your qualification. Looking forward to seeing you in the final. Is Avalon plain in French? Close. Avion is French, but Avion is plain, but Avalon is actually a board game that the grandmasters love to play. I think Magnus might have introduced it at the top. I have had many a game night of Avalon with Magnus MVL, and it has sort of spread, at the top level chess. Before you could find them playing cards at night, but now you find them playing Avalon.
I had no idea MVL presumably thinks quite highly of himself at Avalon to come up with the nickname of Avalon Game Master, or perhaps it's some kind of troll, to anger his fellow top grandmasters.
And by the way, Ralph is telling us we should call him Mod Pro because he is the only menu supporter in there. So we shall stick with Mod Pro and reserve the Man United for Muisbach, who's a big fan. Let's try and find Maxime. How far do we have to go? Did he maybe late join? Where is Maxime? Can someone tell us? Look at the top two seeds next to each other here in 31st and 32nd.
Yeah, it's a testament to how strong this tournament really is.
I mean, even
I think
down...
you can pressing this, we can see. I don't know, does that
Yeah,
work?
he appeared. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we have him here. I guess he late joined if he is in 120th position. and he is still berserking his way up. Maybe we will wait and come back to Maxime. We'll watch this one game and then we'll wait to come back to him later. To answer the question, yes, the finals will be knockout. There will be 60 players knockout, 10 are already qualified, Magnus Carlsen is seeded, and 5 more we are looking for in this arena. The top 5 will qualify and join the other 11. So, what do you make of Maxime's position?
I think it's
some extra material.
Quite a nice position. You're up in exchange, and here more material on the way. That bishop falls. The rook may fall, but you take a piece and you defend the rook, so that's 2 minor pieces for a rook. An excellent trade, and well, it's an extra piece. B4 now, defending the bishop. Their board vision at this level is crazy. How all the pieces interact. Queen here, not afraid if knight takes, because if you took everything, queen c1 would have been back rank. Checkmate, so h3 was played, and now just b3. Does not care too much about this piece, does watch out to not get back ranked, and this pawn is going to cost white a lot of material. Immediate queen and queen h1, fancy play. I mean, the speed, the skill is on another level.
Very nice tactics, and great to have MVL in the tournament. We will wait. Cake in Space, we never got around to watching some Jordan game, or did we see a single one? Let's go and check out Jordan. So far we have only one Dutch player qualified, and that is Meneer Manje, the only IM in the field so far. Let's see if Jordan can put up a fight and try and join him. What is this? A very crazy material imbalance.
Crazy material imbalance. You have to favor black, though. I mean, white wants to get there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And yeah, just
too many threats.
Too many threats. That queen, knight, and pawn are so strong, and they just work together so well.
Jordan against Jobava. Let's see this one.
Wherever we go.
Jobava is everywhere. Oh, and Rauf is informing us that Schach is playing as well.
Wow.
Excellent. We have some huge names in the arena tonight.
A lot of chess players, they probably caught wind of this through, over the course of the day, and now they're like, wait a second, this is not a this is not a tournament I want to miss.
For those of you, I just referred to him as Shach. That is Shakhriar Mamediyarov, one of the top grandmasters in the world. He went as high as world number 2, just behind Magnus, and he's a beast in fast time control. So I'm curious. Tonight is gonna be a tough arena to qualify.
Yeah, you had said earlier that you expected this to be the strongest arena. By the way, very brave to capture this rook. Black is now up in exchange. But first of all, that's a monster of a pawn. And secondly, you have to be very careful on the king side. And that drops. And with it, the game, bishop takes f6. King f8 was no use either, bishop h6. And a little bit too ambitious there from Jobava in a bullet game. Very tough to defend that.
Jordan has made, so again, I should stop referring to the player by their first name with the black pieces. Jordan van Foreest has made his way to second spot. We'll watch one last Jordan game, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
We should watch some Shakhriar Mamediyarov game. Rauf, did you say he's playing under the alias Maria Zagallo? We shall see. So, this one.
Slow
very
game.
Balanced, yeah.
Slow game,
but that's a pawn. Nice tactic.
Yeah, a big tactic. Black ignoring here and going for a counterattack. One of the things that Black wants, he doesn't just want this pawn. He wants to go queen f6. So bishop e2, really smart move. Retreating the bishop just in case, and getting rid of this knight to safeguard.
In these spots in bullet, we talked about this before, even if I feel like the bishop is dominating the knight, actually the knight has no way to activate. In general, I prefer the knight, but probably not here.
Yeah, very aggressive approach here from Black, actually sacrificing a pawn to get this pawn to e2, but I really like the white maneuver, queen e3, because the king is a little bit unsafe, and there are a lot of checks being threatened. King f7 stopping this. Queen e6, beautiful move though, forcing the exchange of the queens, and the problem is, you then cannot bring your king in. And so, in fact, it's costing him the piece.
Some very nice play by Jordan here so far tonight.
Super nice, and he's got a big time edge here, and I think he's in great shape here. White, however, will have a lot of checks, Black, of course, is going to try to run away from the checks. He succeeds, maybe queen d6, coming in with a check himself. And Black will gradually, I think, escape the checks, but it's not that easy. And now he's very close.
But okay,
very
you
close.
have to start killing.
Oh!
And Mod Pro is so fast. I think Kieran's gonna lose. No!
Oh!
Oh, Christ. Oh, that was insane. That was insane. Heartbreak for Jordan.
That was rough.
That was the reality of Bullet, indeed.
It sounds like a good idea at the time, and then, that happens.
Bullet is brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. So let's see, can you type Maria... as underscore... I've already forgotten.
I don't know the underscore.
Maria... Rauf, tell us, is he playing? What was...
Mario, I think, is...
I think he had said...
Mario Zagallo, it's Mario.
Okay. Mario.
There we are.
There he is. So that is Schach's alt account. I had no idea. Mr. Mamedyarov, we are watching here with the white pieces. But yeah, what a speed that was for Mod Pro.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Incredible. Rauf, what are you? Rauf is actually in a very nice spot right now to have qualified, to be able to enjoy, watch his friends, What is your prediction for who is gonna qualify tonight? Let's hear it. Not just from Rauf, but what do people think? Who are the players who are gonna make it through tonight? Here...
Oh no. I think there was a nice tactic, but okay, weird. There was maybe a very cute tactic here, knight a3. And then if queen takes, you take here with check, and you pick this up, and if... Anyway.
Oh, a big game. Jules Moussard against Shahriar Mamedyarov. I'm sure they have played plenty of blitz over the board. And Jules is also a fast player. So big battle here.
So do we know for sure that this is actually Jules Moussard?
Yeah, I know for sure. I mean, I said it at the start and I was fairly certain, so I'm even more certain now that I know that Maxime is Avalon Game Master. I know, it is Jules Moussard, yeah, for sure. And Schach is getting behind the pawns, has to drop back though.
E4 played. And F5. Black is definitely in good shape, and I'm not sure. B3, a little bit of a risky move. This pawn now is going to be hard to defend, although you do advance it to C5. White, Black capturing with the knight. I think his intention, he wants to drive that knight. No, instead goes to D5, and...
What is this ending?
Should be a little bit better for Black, but because of that extra space. Yeah. But he has a lot of work to do. He wants to maybe drive that knight to C4. Maybe, depending if the moment is right, some kind of sacrifice here. But a lot of work to be done. Maybe knight b6.
Rauf says he thinks an interesting prediction. He thinks Naroditsky for sure, who at the moment isn't, at the top. And for the rest, it's hard to predict. And he says he's very happy to have qualified in the second arena, because the third one is a beast of an arena. Some very, very, very strong players. Daniel's in fourth. Oh, he's back already. Last we checked, he was somewhere in position 30. My bad. Apologies to Daniel and all his fans. We shall look at some of his games soon.
And here with a great game from great technique from Mamedyarov here, and we're gonna see game over.
Very nice.
Super, super nice.
Let's watch one more Shahriar game. That's Shahriar. We are already almost halfway through the arena. I did not see the time go. Where did the time go? So 53 minutes remain. And after this game, we will have a look at the standings and look at some of Daniel Naroditsky's games. He was the top seed going into tonight, and I also thought he should be a big favorite to qualify, but in an arena like tonight, absolutely anything can happen.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see that final top 5. For now in this game, Mehmediyarov is fighting against this big center that has sort of KO'd this bishop. D3, a very interesting move. You can take the queen, I exchange here, and the question is, will this pawn be more of a threat or more of a liability? Mehmediyarov decides not to test that, and he's going after this d3 pawn, and I don't think there's any way to avoid the loss of it. Queen takes, you don't have time to take here because of queen takes. However, now you have several things attacked, so he's going for that exchange, and maybe, he wants that rook e7.
The rooks should be stronger here, I guess.
Yeah, the rooks with the king here, there's no risk for white, but the question is, can black engineer some kind of perpetual? That pawn on h7, he wants that, the Nigel Short famous king march comes to mind here. He definitely wants this king h3 move, and Mehmediyarov says no thank you.
No.
But
a nice checkmate on the board. We will leave Schach for now. Hopefully we see him make his way up to the top 10. Who is this Kachi Pachi? We haven't seen him in either of the previous arenas today. From Hachi Pachi from Iran. Let us know again who that is. Who did I say we were gonna go to?
We've got a new leader, and maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time is Bortnik, or no?
No,
Bortnik is Knight. I always confuse these guys.
And another monster here in Fedoseev as Naroditsky's opponent.
So strong. And how many? We'll just see after. Who is maybe next time again? Sarana. Thank you guys in the chat.
Another one of the very, very strong
What
Russian
happened here?
prop.
A miniature. Happened too fast. Too fast. We will see one more game, and then we will see the tournament leader. They're currently both on 66 points and both on fire.
Have to like Naroditsky's position here with the black pieces. Nothing too crazy. Most to play for here against the strong FIDE master. I can't say I'm familiar with him, but here white is offering a queen exchange. Shouldn't be much of a concern for black. But this is you don't have knight c7 because the bishop is hanging, so he defends the bishop. So he had knight c7, but that is stopped now. Bishop takes c4 here, and rook takes pawn was an option. He goes for more. This bishop here being x-rayed, and now you can actually take back. But he's going to go for more. Knight e2. Very, very nice. Incredibly sharp with the tactics, Mr. Naroditsky.
Absolutely nice game. We'll stick around for this one. The leaders clash. Both of them are on a streak, which means that one of them is going to lose their fire. And the standings are all very close. My guess is probably these two are in good shape to make it, but we shall see. Still half of the tournament to go. Who is the leader? For those of you, if you're just watching us now, if you're new to the arena, the number that you see under and over the players' rating, that indicates their tournament standing. So currently Rebecca Harris, aka Daniel Naroditsky, is in second, and maybe next time Alexei Sarana in first, but on the same amount of points.
And you have to fancy white here a little bit, but queen takes f2 seems to be on the cards here. Maybe a little bit of a mistake there. Black driving the knight to d5, hitting both the rook and the pawn, and well, maybe next time is in control here, because if you take this, knight takes is going to create some nasty threat of checkmate, and also threats of knight f1. White presumably will stop that with queen e4, but black says, I don't have anything more to add for now, but I'm going to bring my knight in. But Naroditsky, maybe he had spent some time and said, I don't see anything concrete.
Do we have
the threat is this, queen e1 check,
nice.
and then if you move the king, knight here. So Naroditsky stopping all of that. Knight g3 was a threat here, and again Naroditsky's so sharp, he's stopping absolutely everything. Bishop f2, bringing the position under control, but look at the time.
I mean, the attacking pair of knight and queen is especially hard to deal with in bullet, and that's why I think Alexei Sarana is in great shape here to win this game. He's gonna take all the pawns. He's up 1 million pawns approximately.
And he cannot be checked if he puts his queen somewhere like here. And queen f4, forcing the queen exchange. Naroditsky is going to try to survive on the clock, but stalemate is his only resource, and he's not. I don't think he's going to do it. But he does have a pawn. Be careful. And he does.
You don't see that so often. You don't see that so often at this level. Incredible.
And look at his next move, g5 here. The celebration move on move 1, knight f3, g5. Let's go.
Incredible. Okay, let's see how Rebecca celebrates from here. We'll see.
He might be regretting these celebration already. He's dancing with the king. Bishop g5 was the threat. That's why we saw this h6 move. King on f5, not really what you want. And g5 ideas, bishop takes followed by g5 ideas are in the air here. And that's going to be, well, not quite game over, but it's hard to believe that the king is going to survive. Having said that, there's no concrete follow-up, and black now is trying to get that knight into the game. It wasn't really doing much on c6. Grabs this important pawn, and well, Naroditsky has incredible fighting spirit. He's one of the more resourceful. And knight g3, what a move! Knight e3.
These guys are spotting these tactics all too fast.
I mean, yeah. Well, Naroditsky is a special case. I mean, he's just
a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have Rauf Mamedov in the chat himself saying, "I think Naroditsky will qualify for the rest," I'm not sure. You know, these guys have so much experience, known each other for a long time. Rauf knows what he's talking about, and yeah, I think Daniel Naroditsky is showing it again and again. However, here he has a lot of pawns to deal with.
He has his work cut out for him. He is managing to stop them along those dark squares, so he's made some progress. But white, beautiful stalemate forced.
We're seeing so many. That was such a nice move.
That was beautiful, and the speed as well.
Incredible. Well, okay, one more. Rebecca Harris against Opperwesen, who is in second. That's one of my favorite moves from the tournament.
The rook b6, yeah.
Incredible. Fantastic.
Naroditsky has his own like YouTube channel and stuff. We expect a video, my best stalemates, coming up soon, because those have been two stalemates, but that last one was really beautiful.
Yeah, and so now Opperwesen has made his way to second place. Opperwesen is on fire, but a tough game here against. We see actually we must have missed this one, beat Rebecca, I guess, tonight. So we will see. He is down in exchange, but again, a lot of pawns.
Opperwesen is in great shape here. He might even swap off queens and say that's a good angle, but he wants more. Perhaps Opperwesen feels long term black's king is the one that's less safe. White's king pretty safe here on g1, unless black can get here, but white takes that pawn and kills off those chances. On the other hand, on the other hand, black picking up a pawn here means that big pawn mass is not such a threat. Rook takes c4. I feel like there's been a little bit of a comeback here from black, but will it be enough? The main thing though might be the time.
Spent some time, yeah. I guess white must be with. Although, what do I know?
I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
In fact, you could maybe even consider taking this pawn. Now he can take it, and certainly black is at least equal here. And the clock will decide. He's so hard to kill off, Mr. Naroditsky.
Mr. Naroditsky, okay, let's take a breather. Let's have a quick look at the tournament standings. I still don't know. Let me know. Who is Hachi Pachi? Also, Ferocious Lion. We have an untitled player up here from India. Let's see one game of Hachi Pachi. Is the only player up there that we haven't seen yet. So and he's playing a below do. We found out earlier that is Kirill Alexenko from Russia.
One of the candidates of the
ill-fated candidates tournament. So Hachi Pachi is Tufi Homayun. I have to admit, haven't heard the name before, but Iran is another country. Earlier we talked about India, you know how many strong players are coming out of India, but Iran has been making huge strides, a very young team, and they are also, you know, young players just keep coming out of nowhere. So great to have him in the arena and doing so well tonight. Also here he is, must be better surely with the extra pawn on the king side.
Yeah, I agree. Although 93 check could have picked up some pawns here, and let's not forget, Black has extra pawns on the queen side, so it's a race. It's hard to say, but now Black has
suddenly I don't like white so much anymore.
It's really not clear. I think it's I'm not even sure if the players themselves are quite certain of this. It's such a tricky knight and pawn endgames are so tricky, and I think White has made some great progress. Now the knight can be captured, but how do you stop this pawn?
I always, when I see these positions and 12 seconds on the clock, I always feel I wish I had, like, you know, half an hour, 10 minutes, not 10 seconds to figure it out. But White wins the race.
Yeah, and we're just past the halfway mark.
Yeah, a big win, just past halfway mark indeed. 41 minutes to go. And Hachi Pachi is currently in a qualifying spot. And we'll watch one more game and then we'll see 1 or 2 games by that untitled player. If anyone knows who that is, again, let us know from India. Probably another up-and-coming talent from India. What is going on here? A weird pawn structure.
Very tricky. I guess Black will go after this weak pawn here. Maybe something like bishop e2 would be nice, but the problem is, you know, if you put your pieces like this, he's going in a different direction, exchanging that very strong bishop that was on the diagonal. He's back for more here. Rook d8, defending against the piece that was threatened. I guess you just have to go back for now. White's defense holds up well. Rook d5, inviting that exchange, but you're not going to go for that. Now the question is, where do you go? You don't want to go back because after king e2, you might get caught h6, creating some squares, and that knight really being pushed back, and Black is going to have to find a way to get this knight back into the game. He goes a different direction. He's really obsessed about, you know, trying to capture this pawn here on c4, which is what you do. You target those weaknesses. But White doing a great job defending and also pressing, and here
the tripled isolated.
But
now
forced off the board with a very important check here. And Black is very, very happy, and finally he collects that.
Suddenly Black is better. I don't know how it happened, or I guess he's better at least.
Yeah, I would say so too. Rook b2 and c3 here, and maybe even rook d2 followed by c2 at some point soon. c2 looked very, very strong maybe on the earlier move. He's going in this direction.
Time is a big factor as well. He's down 10 seconds on the clock. He is going to pick up the h-pawn, however. That's a nice move. The white rook gets trapped and the Black gets a winning pawn ending.
And that's what we're going to see there. Black.
4 seconds should be plenty.
This guy's an incredible player, Kachi Pachi.
Very, very nice. So let's go. We have heard in the chat, thank you, that the untitled player is Whitfiz Parab, rated only FIDE rating 2296 from India, but he's disappeared from the front page. Let's still watch one of his games. He is in 11th and he is currently playing against Cesar Gross. Can he fight his way back to the top page? This looks very, very drawish.
Yeah, but White can put the squeeze on a little bit with his more active pieces. This bishop pressing against f7. You are threatening to push the pawn immediately because you cannot capture it. And that's a very annoying pawn with the bishop pinned. Certainly in an over-the-board game, a lot of the time these endgames are drawn. But with the rook on the 7th rank and the bishop could not be a better piece than on d5. It might be just a little bit too much here. Black does grab a pawn, but the threat from White is just to go bishop b7, and now you cannot stop this promotion. So
Ferocious Lion, the aptly named.
Yeah, black is going for one last shot, one last roll of the dice with that threat. Once it gets stopped, well, black resigned.
So let's see, 38 minutes to go. Currently, Rebecca Harris, it's so close. All of these guys, everyone in the top 10, absolutely still in with a chance. Where shall we go, Alex? Fjorkel, we haven't seen too much of Fedoseev. Let's see maybe a couple of Fedoseev games.
Yeah, he's just broken into top 5
Yeah.
and he's up against Kachipachi.
Absolutely, so a big game. I mean, all the games are big, but 4th and 5th, this is really where the crunch time, even though there's 37 minutes to go, what these players want to do, they want to, rise to the top, to not be in the situation that we had this afternoon, where it all comes down to the last second. So all those games now are so important. And yeah, white...
Queen f5 check looks like the way to go here, just to break that pin so you can capture that knight, but you cannot capture the knight. I just realized the queen is hit, so he goes a different direction. He goes knight g5, but black is up a piece.
Yeah.
So Kachipachi once again putting on a very, very strong performance here. He picks up that pawn in the center. White goes bishop d4. He maneuvers the knight. He wants knight f5. He gets knight f5. And that's going to be very uncomfortable because you're going to be losing an important piece and you're also being x-rayed. And tactics, knight check, bishop check, and takes. But that's a lot of material.
Yeah.
He sort of tricked himself in a sense.
Because suddenly white has a rook and a piece for the queen, while before he was a piece down.
Yeah. So it's in the end, sometimes it's surprising.
Yeah.
You can make beautiful tactics, but they you have to be careful that they don't backfire.
It was a bit too fancy, yeah?
And on this occasion, but it was a very, very nice. It shows a lot of creativity. b3, will white regret that move though? Queen takes c3, the position.
Tactics everywhere, and we're back again to this. I guess black should be winning. He's also up on the clock.
It's a very, very tricky position to win. Queen g6 here looked very, very strong, but he goes a different direction. He's going for that attack. It's very, very difficult to play this as white though, especially now once the f2 pawn falls and game over.
That very impressive play from Hachipachi.
Let's stick with no. Okay.
Let's go away for now. But where to go? I'm in Tabatabai, another, I think, Iran's number 2 player. So let's also and he's playing Sergei Zhigalko, who was the 2nd seed when we started. Also, we should have a look. Someone in the chat can surely let us know, where are the heavy hitters? Shahriar Mamedyarov and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. How are they getting on? Are they anywhere near? We can see they are not in the top 10, but are they near? Let us know.
And here's Zhigalko up a piece with the white pieces and in control for now. But black, of course, will fight on. The king is a little bit vulnerable, but once the queens come off the board, Zhigalko is very happy. He's going after that f7 pawn. He's now bringing the king forward. Black fixes those problems. King is a little bit weak here, and king b3 just escaping back to safety. Smart decision, but 5 seconds against 14. It's all about the clock here. Zhigalko is pretty much pre-moving. Will Amin try to take advantage of that? And he does. He picks up that rook. We're seeing rook f1. He picks up the second rook, and it's going to be game over for poor Zhigalko.
For Zhigalko, it's a tough spot because he's only in 16th position with 34 minutes to go. You really need to start racking up those wins. Let's watch one more game because he's up against Axel Bachmann. I don't think we've seen any game from a player from South America. But Axel Bachmann from Paraguay, great to have him playing. So let's watch one more game and then we'll go back and check in on the standings. Apparently MVL has stopped playing and Shach no information yet. But MVL is out of the tournament. Probably didn't have his best. I guess it wasn't going so well if he stopped playing.
But it's really a testament to how strong the tournament is that someone like MVL giving up with half an hour to go. Unless, of course, there may have been some other reason behind it.
What is this mess here? What is this mess? At first sight,
white wants to attack, and here we go, knight h6. And he might go knight f5. He cannot take it because of this pin, and he wants more. He wants something like maybe queen h6, but he's given up on the attack fields. Black had enough defenses, and he's brought the knight. Very interesting, actually, maneuvering it over to the queen side. Rook g4, bishop c8 seems to be a problem, and that's what we're seeing. And Backman so far doing very well. Queen exchange on the board, and bishop f5, and Backman, the bishop first didn't catch the rook, but here a nasty pin. And we've got maybe this one last game.
Yeah, sure. Let's see it.
Mr. Naroditsky himself.
Oof, MVL lost 6 games in a row and then withdrew. Schach is in 24th on 66 points. 66, he can still qualify, but he will need to really get on a winning streak very, very soon.
Yeah, if someone can do it, it's Schach. I mean, there was a show where we had him, not a show per se, a match against Vladislav Artemiev.
And what a match that was.
Yeah, and he showed incredible bullet skills in that match. So here, the bishop was under fire, bishop f6. And Black has beautiful center, but his kingside have to be a little bit careful with it. That pawn on f7 being hit. Black brings back the queen. Now he's trying to use the g-file. He might drive the rook to g6, and he might try to go on the offensive himself. White steps out of the g-file. Makes a lot of sense. And Black going for a very dangerous capture, because you can actually get pinned here. Bishop f4, and now after queen c4, this is very nasty. Rook takes, queen takes, and bishop here to e5. So Black spotting that and giving up the queen, feeling that that's best, but it's really not ideal, and maybe regretting that capture of the pawn, especially against someone as tactically gifted as Mr. Naroditsky. Now queen e5 is going to pin this, and I think that's going to be a g4, g5 is coming in. He's able to break the pin in time. Maybe h6 just to try and control that square. Instead, he's putting his money on that pawn on d3. And actually, if he can drive the pawn to e4, that would really be very scary. But for the time being, this pawn on f4 can be captured. Black is trying to open up lines so that this rook gets into play, but he has to be careful against this. Queen d4 check, really strong move. Once you move the king, I'm going to take that rook, take the pawn, and life is good. Naroditsky wins again.
Truth in the chat, it's saying it's gonna be a crazy battle. It really will. All of these guys are gonna be battling. I think maybe next time in Rebecca Harris, like in the previous, I think both previous arenas, we had 2 guys at the top who seemed more or less safe. They're not completely safe yet, again, unless there is a collapse. And then a raging battle here between all these players. Never Enough is Grandmaster. He's playing John Ludwig Hamel. Let's go there. John Ludwig, who came very close to qualifying in the second arena. Who is Never Enough again? Someone should help us out.
Chat has to bail us out.
Yeah.
There are so many players in
Maybe
this. So many strong.
We haven't seen any of his games, I believe, so far in this. Who is maybe next time is Sarana. So this is not Sarana. And apparently Un Vieux Monsieur has also left, so rage quits from both chess players. Never Enough is...
Oh!
How much time did he have on the clock? Enough?
One guy had 0.4 seconds and the other one 1.8, but at this point I'm not even sure who had what. That was brutal. That was really brutal.
But Never Enough, thank you, is Boris Grachev. So there are so many strong Russian, almost all the Russian, blitz specialists are out here on Lichess tonight. Except for Konevlad. I thought we would see Konevlad, who's been doing so well. Vladislav Artemiev. He's been doing so well in all these online tournaments, so very surprised we didn't see him today. Bishop f4. I spotted a tactic. My first tactic spotted for the day.
But White has some compensation for the exchange with this big center here, possibility to make a passed pawn. For now, he keeps it on e5, and we're seeing queen d7 now, making this pawn. And the problem is the rooks need open files here. So Black is going to try to create an open file, even inviting queen f4 and bishop d6 check, giving up this pawn. I'm not so sure about it though, because the bishop now really well placed. f4, creating space for the king. Black wants h4 to try and disrupt things, but White will just drop the bishop back, and White is just shutting down all the files. Black is trying desperately to get activity, but
he is going to pick up that h-pawn, and that's a big pawn.
That's a huge pawn, because the rooks are now going to start filtering into the position. We're going to see probably something like rook g2, rook takes b3 very soon, and this pawn, the king's just doing a fantastic job of killing that, and White
White has
position
seen
turned around.
enough. He resigns. 28 minutes to go. Only Hachipachi on fire. We've seen some great tactics from him. I don't know where to... Let's watch... Let's see... I don't know where to go. We haven't seen Opperwiesen in a while. He is the highest rated, the highest ranked IM for now. He's playing Mod Pro, so a clash between... well, first of all, a very important game for the standings. But also two of these very strong IM bullet players we were talking about.
Yeah, two of the regulars, 2,900 plus for both of them in rating, and that's a lot of rating.
For people, sorry.
No.
I was just saying, because Opperwiesen, he has a Finnish flag. That is only an insider joke. He is from the Netherlands, and yeah, plays under the Finnish flag. But that's why Manier, we see him in the chat, in the game chat, is cheering for his countrymen to make it through to the finals. He is up a pawn here. He's also up on the clock. I fancy his chances unless something goes horribly wrong. How do you make Oh, that's how you make progress.
Yeah. However, Black has his own ideas. Some checks. You can block the checks, but it's going to cost the queens coming off the board. Then again, White is up a pawn, but is it going to be enough to convert? I think the time is what's going to.
The time is the biggest factor here.
Yeah, I think he's gonna make it. Here, he's not really even going for an active plan. He's going for that repetition, and now you can even exchange, and that's that. You cannot stop both pawns.
Very nice.
So under half an hour.
On the half.
Maybe
oh, and
game.
the Dutch clash between Jordan van Verweest with the white pieces and Opperwiesen. So let's see this one.
A very important game for Jordan, who finds himself number 7 at this stage of the tournament. So we'll see, can he keep his strong tournament alive and improve on it. But overall, I like Opperwiesen's position as long as he... Oh, very nice trick here.
Yeah.
Picking up a minor piece. The speed with which he saw that is just incredible. Has to move the knight. He goes for knight a5 and white queen b4. Very smart move, just stopping the intended castle. And you don't want to go knight d5 to kick the queen away, because that bishop will fall. So he goes e5. Now the bishop is controlling that c8 square. e4 preventing knight d5. You're seeing both players really playing their hand in this position, and you might see a queen exchange.
Can we exchange and castle finally? No, he's not interested.
Well, he just wanted to save the knight here, and
course.
now in this position. But the thing is, the rooks, although you have minor pieces, then minor pieces aren't that good in this position. And after bishop takes, rook d8 check is very, very nasty. And actually,
I looked at did Jordan win?
Jordan takes it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Jordan takes it down. A very, very important game.
I looked away for 1 second. How did this happen so fast? Josef, international master. Let's go there. Another play. Oh, from Indonesia. Okay, let's see this one. And he is up against Mod Pro. Who is international master Josef? If somebody knows, let us know. And he is also suddenly, up with a shot up there. It's so close that this is gonna be such a thrilling final. And I mean final of this arena. The final is also gonna be thrilling. On Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central European Summertime, we will start a 16-player knockout tournament, also bullet, and it will be mini matches of best of 12. What?
You cannot take because of this. And these players, they use all the tricks in the position. It's really incredible to see. And here, a lot of pressure against this knight. White just wants to try and kick the pieces away, but will he regret this move? Because now you're giving this f4 square for now it's guarded, but we'll see what happens, especially this pawn as well can be undermined. King g1 preparing knight to e5. Black gets rid of it and then carries on chipping away at the structure. White invites that queen exchange, but really, really nice little trick there.
Very nice.
And Black comes back. It happened so fast. Basically picked up the pawn almost too fast to register.
And we also, it has to be said, the dedication from Josef, because in Indonesia, depending on where he is, it's either 3 or 4 a.m. for Josef. So great to see really people from all over the world playing in this arena. When we next go to the standings, I want to see how many players there are. It looks like Mod Pro is just so fast, and he has this tricky knight. He does a clever thing. He goes to hide his king, puts it on a dark square so that there cannot be no checks from the bishop. And he is going to take this game. And he's also absolutely still in with the shot. Ralph, you are asking the wrong person. Better to ask the arbiter. But I think the pairings might only be made tomorrow, because I think there will be some double checks, some cheating checks. Not that anyone is suspected, but I think they will just standard procedure, just check everything. Let me see. So we have 4,800 players. Can we make it to 5,000? Let's see this tournament get to 5,000. And let's see. Cake in Space has suddenly taken the 5th spot. Nobody is on fire. Only Baba Ramdev down here.
And Oberbism just got onto fire.
Oberbism.
Just after you said it, he's back. And
Then
that's
let's see if he can keep it. He's up against a player who, you know, compared to the other guys on top, he's only in 48th. He's rated 250 points lower, so that should be a game that he should win and keep the streak going. And what a tournament, what a finish we are going to have.
And here we go. White could have castled, but no, thank you, h4, h5. But black is looking for f4, and when you've got all your pieces piled up like this, I'm not quite sure what the idea is if you just take this piece. I'm surprised that black didn't take it. Maybe it was because the knight was hanging. Incredible tactics found there by black. And white king in some trouble here. Knight takes d5, bravely capturing, and he might go knight here and try and use some tactics at some point, maybe try to break down this position. For now, he improves his king, protects this pawn on b3, and we might see some move like knight g5. There is one check, but you cannot take the rook because knight f7 would be mate. Incredible checkmate here. And you can guarantee that Oberwesen has seen that idea, but black is playing great chess here. He's picked up those 2 pawns, and now he takes the rook. Oper is trying for this idea here with check, but it's not going to happen. Rook d8, unfortunately you take with check, but his opponent did not realize, and he's still alive. He's still alive in the game. He's going to try to do something here. Oper incredibly fast. He does have 1 second edge on the clock, but I have to say, Frankenstein has played
a brilliant game.
Fantastic chess so far. Rook c3 here. Upper's going to try and wear him down on the clock, but Upper is one of the fastest, but
the problem is the queen is so much stronger, so much trickier.
Yeah, but very easy to play. And
okay, now he can show his speed though, and now it's suddenly not so easy. Suddenly it's not so easy. Oh no, now. Oof.
He showed his speed, but it was just not enough with a couple of seconds to go.
And I believe Mamedyarov has made it onto the front page, and he's on fire. So let's go there.
Yeah, I think this could be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
He's it'd be amazing if he qualifies for the finals. I have no favorites per se. I guess you also don't. But when you hear of a huge name in chess, like someone like Mamedyarov who plays such exciting chess,
I will say it. I'm cheering for Schach to qualify.
So we have no favorites, but we're rooting for Schach.
No, I mean, as you say, Shahriar, you know, he's been one of really the leading players in the world. He was at some point number 2 in the world. I'm also biased. He's been a great friend for a long time, but he's also such a fantastic chess player, such an attacking style, and I just think he would be a great player to watch in the finals.
But he's in a little bit of trouble here against Mr. Popovic, who has this very, very advanced pawn. Will it cost a lot of material here? I think he's going to have to give up the bishop for it. But 2 rooks and a couple of pawns for queen and bishop.
And the pieces are a bit awkward.
Yeah, suddenly the pieces are very awkward, and white wants to make something of these pawns. Rook f1, a smart move. You cannot take the rook, and the rook drives back to b6, but he gives up these pawns. He's down to very, very little time on the clock. Queen and bishop can checkmate. Queen check. Queen check was very, very strong. He's going for this pawn. and he stops the pawn, advance 4 seconds. Now he's going to collect this pawn on b6, and I think it just might not be enough. Yeah, and he runs out of time. That's a huge game.
Tough loss for Shahriar. It was only 18 minutes to go. He will have to really win 4 or 5 games in a row now to make it back to the top. Meanwhile, the battle rages on. I think maybe next time Rebecca Harris, we're not going to look at their games anymore because I think they will make it. We will focus on this pack here. Cake in Space, Jordan Van Verweest is on fire, so let's go there. He's up against Ferocious Lion, the young untitled player from India.
And he's in a lot of trouble down a piece.
Yeah.
Black is looking to exchange and enter with his rook, going after these pawns. And this is a big game because, as you say, the streak means if Jordan wins this game, for example, he's going to collect more points than usual. He would get 4 points instead of the usual 2. So he's going for rook d1, hoping that after rook takes he can get a lot of counterplay with rook d7 and double attack on the knight and the pawn. And black, seeing this, goes for knight c8, and now he's going to chase the pawns. Maybe we're going to see rook d8 to prevent rook takes a5. The knight would hang. Knight e7, now rook d7. He gets this, so he has achieved something, tricking his opponent to some extent. But knight c4 will force the loss of this pawn, and black is very happy here. Knight e4 going after the base of the pawn chain, I think, is what we're going to see. And the question is, how far will white go trying pressing this position on the clock? He could resign
and try and get another game. I think he will. He's up, over 10 seconds. I think Jordan will fight until the end here.
Yeah, king.
But now the problem is you're so paralyzed.
King f3 and domination along those dark squares. And now there's even going to be some mating nets. I thought maybe knight takes g3 was very strong. Knight takes g3 and rook g2, that's a mating net. And black, I think, is going to go for that. G5 is a nice move because if you had taken earlier, white would have taken, and then you would have been the one in trouble. So that's the mating net that we see from Ferocious Lion in the end. And that's a tough loss against Jordan.
And the Dutch clash once again. Oppewezen against Jordan Van Verweest. And if you look at the standings above our heads, nobody is on fire anymore, at least not in the top 6. We'll look at the top 10 standings right after this game. 15 minutes to go. We are into the last quarter of an hour. Everything is going to be decided here. We might see heartbreak for one of the 2 Dutch players.
Well, certainly if both Dutch players, we're going to see 3 Dutch players in the finals, if that is the case, which would be very impressive. Knight g5, a huge move. You cannot take, and that's checkmate. The reason you couldn't take was because the queen was hanging, but
checkmate is the end of the game.
Checkmate does end the game. And what a game, what a matchup here. We've got
Jordan.
Mr. Van Verweest against Mr. Mehmediyarov.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see it.
c4, creating a threat of d5, going knight e5. Maybe you're going to push this pawn to e6, try and create chaos in the black position. He goes to different directions, supporting here. Black is fighting against white's central pieces. Knight d4 hits this bishop. You cannot take it though without losing your own bishop, so bishop takes c4 first. Bishop d5, maybe we're going to see some bishop b5 hitting the rook, instead supporting the bishop. And black, will white try to put some pressure? Tactics, bishop takes g2. If king takes, the knight on d4 falls, the rook on e8 falls. It's hard to keep track of everything. White lifts the rook into the game here, covering some important squares, and black is maybe eyeing some attacking opportunities here. On queen c5, you can take this pawn, but the queens would come off the board. Maybe not interesting to black. And he, still 30 seconds. The pace, I thought that they each have maybe 10 seconds.
The rook is hanging.
The rook, and Mehmediyarov very happy to take it.
He really needed the win here, Mehmediyarov. I think Shah needs to probably win almost all his remaining games, but he gets this first one. And let's go back to see the arena, the top 10 standings. Oppewezen and Josef from Indonesia, both on fire. And and also Gigalco is back up there. So where do we go? Gigalco? Josef? Let's see Josef. Where do we go?
It's tough.
One Josef game.
It's tough.
Against Heisenberg. Heisenberg, fantastically strong FM and bullet player. And he's been up there in most of the arenas, but we haven't seen any games. So let's see this one. And it was actually Upper who just beat Chigalco.
Sorry, I back clicked with the mouse.
Where were we looking at? Josef. It's looking good for white.
97 ends the game right there.
Nice
and
checkmate.
We go back to the tournament, and one thing that I'm wondering here, can we watch maybe Jigalko?
Sure.
Is he able to break into that pack here?
Big game against Fedoseev.
He's got a huge game, but he's in great shape here. He is not in great shape anymore. He's got a dead drawn position, and he's got very little time on the clock. The question is,
will Fedoseev try?
I think he will. He's in 7th place.
He has to.
And he's going to try absolutely his best, but I think it's going to be a draw. And Zigalko lives to fight another day, but it is just a draw. 12 minutes to go. He really needs a win here.
Oh, 4th against 5th. A big game indeed.
So he has actually broken in even with that draw. Shows you how close, just how tight the margins are. It's incredible here. And Black gets a nice position out of the opening, it seems. Gets sort of like a good French. You've got that bishop out. And Jigalko, an expert in this type of position, so really very confident in his maneuvers here on the queen side. That knight too strong, getting kicked out, but goes aggressively onto a3. And look at those knights, look at that play on the queen side, and white has to start something in the center or on the king side. Otherwise, black is just going to continue to invade, and that's what we're seeing. All the minor pieces here, maybe even rook c3, and you just keep flooding that queen side with the pieces. But there is no killer blow for now. We do see that move, rook c3, queen here. Maybe there's going to be some tactics at some point. I guess you just have to retreat. The bishop is defended, bishop takes, knight takes. We're going to see all of the pieces for black on the queen side. And that's typical of the French defense. White wants to engineer some kind of an attack on the side where he has that space advantage, but tricks, knight takes d4. If you take here, rook takes, hangs, and otherwise your queen is hanging with check. Very, very nice trick. And we might even see, well, the question is, what does black do about this knight? Will he sacrifice here his queen for a rook and a bishop? Otherwise, how does he defend everything? He could go passive with knight c6. He chooses that move. White goes in for the attack against this point. Will we see
time is an issue as well.
Shifting the queen, the pieces, the white pieces, we see that flooding of the pieces onto the king side for white, and huge move. Black is going to have to sacrifice to avoid a checkmate here on h7, and in the end Josef has turned it around. And look at that clock situation. Josef is actually incredibly fast there. He had to fend off all of that pressure for almost the entirety of the game, and this is very bad news for Jigalko, who is fighting for a spot.
And I mean, 10 minutes, we are on the 10-minute mark. Only 5-6 games to go, and a big win for Josef. Currently, we have 3 IMs here. Who would have in such a field? That is simply incredible.
And look at Jigalko pushed back to 10th. He was in 5th, and he got pushed back to 10th so quickly.
And look at Oberwesen is catching up. Even the guys at the top, I think they will be through, but the field is catching up.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. And Oberwesen must have berserked so much because he's got more games than almost any of of the people around him.
I wanted to see one Bashirli game since we have Rauf Mamedov in the chat with us. He's playing... Rauf, can you tell us, who is Bashirli? I saw he is from Azerbaijan. He is up against chess warrior Nodirbek Abdusattorov, who I think in 13th it's too late for Nodirbek. I don't think he's gonna make it today. But for Bashirli, this could be the opportunity of a lifetime, at least so far, in what I guess is a young career. And Moosbach, by the way, Rauf was saying, why is Penguin playing when he already qualified? He's just here with us, enjoying the show, chatting away in the chat. But I guess the difference is something called bullet addiction.
Penguin, or maybe Penguin says, you know what? Let me focus extra hard against my biggest rivals. You know, let me take him down a notch or two ahead of the final. You never know. But Bashirli in great shape here. He's won a piece here. That bishop got stuck, and he's continuing his attack. He wants to bring that rook to g7, but the queen, the queen hangs, and that's huge. Could that be pressure getting to Bashir? He had just broken into the top 5, and Abdusattorov will take
Very
it.
sad.
And
Let's watch it. We were just speaking of Penguin. Who berserks Bashirli, and then we'll go back, see what is the situation at the top.
Bashirli will not berserk back against arguably, possibly the fastest man alive here. And this is a great opportunity for Bashirli, actually, to, even though you're playing someone who's so strong, already qualified, but with that 30-second edge, and he's keeping up on time with Penguin. So we're seeing excellent speed. Queen e3 looks like a nice double attack here. Will he go for it? Queen e3. He does not go for it. Instead, he improves all of his pieces. Rook e1, a big move. Queen takes e1. Oh, Bashirli, will he live to regret that? Will he live
Even
to regret
I
that?
spotted something for once.
Poor old Bashirli. He is.
Big miss.
Is the pressure getting to him? That's 2 games in a row where, I mean, a guy who breaks into the top 5, he's obviously incredibly strong, but 2 games in a row, and now he's being forced to pay the price here. Threat of checkmate. He has to stop that with g6, but the pieces invade. Penguin doesn't even want that rook. Instead, he wants Bashirli's blood here. If you take, we're going to see queen check, king e7, and knight d5 with a really nice tactic. Penguin, in fact, we're going to see just mate in 1. Penguin says, I don't care about your queen. Stop giving these BS lines. I'm just going to go for the mate in 1. And that was a big game there, by the way, as well. But okay, let's.
Bortnik has fought his way into the top 5.
Incredible streak. Look at Bortnik. Bortnik's streak. He's just been on an absolute tear.
Let's go. Let's see if we can see Bortnik's game. Or do you think he's true? Where should we go? One Bortnik game. He's on such an incredible streak.
And he's up against a man who has the skill to break that streak. It's Parham Maghsoodloo. But g6, I really like this move now. Bishop takes g6, knight takes g6 is just ruining the structure. So black goes for an intermezzo. And what a funny position we have. This pawn on h7. White defends that pawn. Black says, I want that pawn. White says, I don't want you to take it. Black says, I want that pawn again. So it's really, they're both battling it. F3, White says, let's break on the light squares. That's a typical good idea when you're the only one with the light square. Bishop, 6 minutes to go. The e-file has opened up. White steps his king out of the way. Rook e1 is what we want to see here. Bishop d6 perhaps. Rook e6 invading. White will gang up on the e-file, which he controls. Knight f8, kicking the rook. Where do you go? You go only to d6 with the queen. Really high tempo game here. Parham making some very strong time here against Knight King. Parham in 32nd place. He's out of contention. Knight King, all the pressure on him, and perhaps that's influencing Bortnik's play here.
Bortnik, actually, the game that we didn't catch, he lost that game, so he's not on fire anymore. So it's even more important that he wins here. We had missed the game just when I clicked on him. That was a loss, actually.
If you go bishop takes f5, that looks very tempting, but queen takes d4 was a nice counter shot. So that's why king g2, I think. Bishop takes f5 now, though, looks very promising to me. Rook takes and queen takes g4, and that's what we're going to see. You cannot take this pawn without losing the queen. Or maybe you could have, but too late at this point. Rook takes h6. Now we see the pawn drop. Bishop takes g4. All of the pieces but the rook on h6, and that's crunch time there. And that's 2 losses in a row. He's still in there.
5 minutes to go, under 5 minutes. He's still in there. Josef as well. I think Opperwesen, I think the top 3 are through in my opinion. But Knight King, who's Great Parrot? Who is Great Parrot?
Great Parrot just
out of nowhere.
He just showed up.
Who is Great Parrot? He's in 6th place.
But
and on fire.
Zhigalko is not happy with Great Parrot here. He's trying to completely crush him. And he was doing, I feel like he's in great shape, but now he's lost the thread a little bit of the position. The knight, rook d7 is a huge threat, but that gets stopped. And White simply cannot break the defenses down. He's trying, he's absolutely trying, but black is just putting a fortress here on g6. That taking rook g6 will exchange pieces, and it's all about the clock.
Okay, but it's too many pieces.
It's too many pieces and too little time. And that's that. Let's take one last look perhaps at the tournament, or will it be a last look?
Baba Ramdev, Akshat Chandra on fire, Great Parrot on fire. These 2 guys, we didn't really have them on our radar. Let's go to Baba Ramdev.
Baba Ramdev.
People are berserking. We see a lot of red on the clocks. That is because the time is ticking down. 3.5 minutes to go. Musbak Khafmamedov in the chat is enjoying the Berserk show now in his qualifier chair.
Simply crazy. And Fandor96 is looking to just rip the black king apart, and he's done that. He's now got a queen here, queen c6 coming in, and queen takes f6. Everything is falling with check, queen f6, and I think Fandorin is going to convert this, and Baba Ramdev is in some trouble.
He's in big trouble.
He's playing for that stalemate. He gets the stalemate. That could be the difference. 1 point there. He's lost his streak, but
tonight has been such a stalemate show. We've seen so...
Yeah, and it's a huge point. He's on 112 against 111.
Unbelievable.
But he has lost the streak, and we're seeing more berserking. I mean...
Under 3 minutes to go. What the heck?
It's such a crazy situation here.
Our camera cannot take it.
Baba Ramdev, what can he conjure up here? He's up against another player who's probably out of contention, but he doesn't have the kind of game that you want. It's very slow. You want to get more games, and you've got 2 minutes on the clock, and he needs to make something happen fast here. White can maneuver to his heart's content. He's not in the race, but Black needs to make something happen, and he's trying to push some pawns, trying to bring the knight into play, but White's position for now is very solid. King g1, maybe protecting this pawn. That's something though. That is a big pawn here.
Huge.
Queen takes g3 is on the cards, but his own king is very, very weak, vulnerable to checks, and that's queen takes f6. At least the perpetual, but White wants more. He loses the piece in the process though. Baba Ramdev, very little time on the clock. He's back, and the queen... Baba Ramdev loses his queen. Oh, that could be the difference. Oh, Baba Ramdev, if he had not lost back his queen.
I was so stressed in the end, I couldn't follow what was going on, but a heartbreaking loss for Baba Ramdev.
1 minute and 20 seconds. Let's check out Great Parrot. No, Great Parrot. Yes, Great Parrot. Great Parrot, he's on 114 points.
Against Baba Ramdev.
He's up. Baba Ramdev needs to win. Can the chat... And Baba Ramdev loses in 10 moves. This is bad news for Mr. Baba Ramdev, and he's in 6th place.
Is Josef going to make it?
Josef,
the international master from Indonesia. I think the top 4 are safe.
Maybe Fedosia. No, I think Baba Ramdev needs... Let's go back to Baba Ramdev.
Let's see if Josef is going to end his own game in time. What's this position? He's in great shape, no?
But I don't think he's going to end it against Hammer in 37 seconds. We need a miracle for Baba Ramdev here, but I don't think he's going to get there. Can we just quickly maybe see, can he get there in... I think, chat maybe can correct this, but I think if Baba Ramdev wins this, he can overtake as long as Joseph doesn't finish.
Yeah, chat cannot see the clocks. 17 seconds, 16, 15...
13 seconds to end the tournament. Leon Levi, this could happen. It's 4 seconds. 4 against 8.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And the tournament is just finished, and it's a stalemate. It's not good enough. Baba Ramdev does not get there.
Incredible! What a finish! This time it was mostly between 2-3 players, but wow! So close! I'm speechless. I am speechless, but we have 5 qualifiers. We have 5 cards. I still don't know. Who is Grey Parrot? Who is Grey Parrot? Let's open. See. No information. He will have to out himself before the final, where all the players will be on camera. I guess nobody knows because I haven't seen anyone in the chat. Grey Parrot came absolutely out of nowhere. I mean, he just won his last 9 games. Last 9 games. I mean, even here, a lot of green. What a show, what a show, what a tournament. Rebecca Harris. Okay, let's go to the standings from the top. First of all, congratulations to Daniel Naroditsky, aka Rebecca Harris from America, who qualifies in first place, a dominating performance, well called by Ralph. Second place, maybe next time,
Not Bortnik, but...
Sarana, no.
Sarana, I believe. I believe it's Sarana. We can just quickly check.
Yeah, Sarana, sorry. It's been a long day. Too much bullet for my head. But Sarana, congratulations to Alexei Sarana in second. Third place, Opperwesen. He was close this afternoon. Very impressive performance. Congratulations to Vincent Rothus from the Netherlands. And Great Parrot, unknown. And in fifth place, Josef with the long name. If someone could once again put Josef's full name into the chat, I would appreciate it, to congratulate the international master from Indonesia, who was playing in the middle of the night. Great Parrot is Hikaru, I doubt it. Who knows? Who knows? Josef Tahir, congratulations. Tough for
our sixth place finisher who lives up to his username.
Never
I could
know.
not resist this joke, but it's a rough one to miss by 1 point, even though he had actually berserked his last game. And look at his final streak. That's really rough for an excellent player, and he went on an incredible 7-game winning streak.
What's that Grashev now? Never know.
I believe so. And so this is against such strong opposition. This is very, very
so
unlucky.
Close.
And really the
also close for Akshat Chandra. All of these guys, were up there. Even if we look to the second page, so many huge names. Shach Jordan was up there. Chess Warrior, John Ludwig Hammer, Penguin. And 5,041 players in total. Simply incredible.
Yeah, and it's been a crazy show, and it's incredible to know that we're gonna be looking at a lot more bullet on Friday. So if you guys have enjoyed this, on Wednesday. That's what bullet commentary does for you guys on Wednesday. So maybe
Wednesday 5 p.m. Central European Summertime. We will be here with the finals, which will be even more exciting. Let's quickly, before I show you this one last time, let's just go once again through. You guys have been asking throughout the show who qualified. So this was qualifier 1: Haik Martirosyan, Andrew Tang, David Paravian, Raunak Sadvani, Rasmus Fane. This was qualifier number 1. Congratulations to these 5. We had nobody qualifying into arenas. Qualifier 2: Alireza Firuja, Shant Sargsyan, Rauf Mamedov.
You've done well so far. I have to, I'm impressed.
Arjan Uragazi.
Erigazi or something.
Apologies, I will make sure that for the final, I know his name by heart. Munir Manje, Thomas Beertsen was the first IM, but he opened the way for tonight. 2 IMs qualified from this incredibly strong arena tonight with 5,000 players. And the final 5 qualifiers: Rebecca Harris, aka Daniel Naroditsky, Alexei Sarana, Vincent Rothus. Great Parrot is the only player where we don't know who that is, but we will find out. For the final, the players, that's gonna be a treat. The players will be on camera, and if you paid attention, names 5 from each arena, they will be joined in the final by none other than Magnus Carlsen. There's a few guesses in the chat. I don't know that anyone knows for sure. People are guessing Nakamura, maybe Artemiev. Who knows? We will find out on Wednesday. For now, guys, that's all from us. Tomorrow we take a breather, but hopefully we see you on Wednesday for what promises to be a thrilling finale. I will now start the raid and send you guys over to Penguin, Andrew Tang, who has qualified in an earlier arena today. So send him our congratulations. A very big thank you, well, first of all, to the organizers. Big thank you to Katara for sponsoring this fantastic tournament. Big thank you to you guys who watched us today. And kudos to all 5,000 players. Surely we're very close to... We are on groundbreaking bullet ground. Guys, it's been a long day. Have a lovely night. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care. Bye bye.